Today, for the very first time, we're checking out the brand new just released album from Rob Zombie. This is The Great Satan. Hello everybody and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. We are very excited because brand new Rob Zombie. It's not every year you get a new Rob Zombie album. I feel like as he's been getting older, he's been kind of spacing his albums out a little bit more and working in Hollywood a lot more, which I think leaves him with a lot less time to dedicate to the music side of things. But if you are joining us here on the channel for the first time, we have several other videos here on the channel where we talk about Rob Zombie. And we've had a lot of fun in those videos. And we go way more into detail in those videos than we are in this one, kind of how we each individually feel about Rob Zombie. I'll just say I've been a big fan of Rob Zombie since I was a teenager. I've been following his career the entire time. I've heard every one of his albums except for his most recent one, which I think is the Acid Warlock something of the somethings. I still actually have not heard that album. And one of the reasons I haven't heard it is because I kind of skipped it when it first came out. And then that was right around the time when I was starting my YouTube channel. And so I just didn't. Oh, you know what? I do. No, I think his most recent one is the Lunar Eclipse Kool-Aid the Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy. That one with the Legend of Blackula, I think, is on there, plus a bunch of other good stuff. But that one I have heard, and there is a reaction to that on the channel. That was one of the first albums I actually did a reaction to here on the channel. His album from before that, the one that's called Acid Something. That one I had not heard. And I haven't done a listen to it because I thought maybe I could do a reaction to it someday, and then I've been putting it off and just haven't done it. But I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie. And Chris, what are your general thoughts about Rob Zombie?
I really love Hellbilly Deluxe. It's got some real bangers on it. I think the second album, it sounds like, is also pretty good. We went over that at one point.
We did. That was what we did for Halloween last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But ever since then, I haven't really paid attention. We listened to the Rat Rod Rodeo, whatever the hell album.
Yeah, we listened to Venomous Rat Regeneration Vender. Yeah.
And that was forgettable. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. But I'm always looking forward to hopefully a new Super Beast.
Right.
Something on par with that.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really interesting album because this is his first album back with Riggs back in the band. So the guitar player that played with him on Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 1 and on his second album, which is the one I have over here, Sinister Urge. I have it on vinyl.
If that's where the one was, yeah.
The Sinister Urge. So Riggs and Blasco, who is his bass player at the time for that album, they're both actually back in the band for the first time now. Since their hit Rob Zombie's second solo album, The Sinister Urge, his guitar player was John Five. Marilyn Manson fame, and I believe he worked on some Nine Inch Nails stuff as well. And I really enjoyed his aspect, like his approach to everything. Riggs is to me a much more sort of simple guitar player, but it really worked fantastically on the first two Rob Zombie albums.
Yeah.
And I'm a Scum of the Earth fan as well. Their first two albums are pretty good. I think Scum of the Earth, which that was the band that Riggs broke off from Rob Zombie and created his own band that sounded just like Rob Zombie, especially on their first album.
Well, I'm more excited for this now to know that.
Yeah, and I haven't heard a second of this, so I have no idea what it's going to be. But so anyway, that's kind of our thoughts. If this is your first time here on the channel, like I said, we do have a Coffee account if you want to donate to us. The way we do things means that we don't get any ad revenue from any of the videos we have here on the channel. All ad revenue from all the videos on our channel here go to the artist whose music we're featuring in that video. So in this case, it will go to Rob Zombie. So if you like what we do and you enjoy it, you can donate to us if you want. If you just want to hang around the channel, see some other stuff we've done, I highly recommend it. We've got lots of great Metallica videos. We just released our very first ever reaction to Trivium, which, Chris, I don't know if you've been looking at the comments or anything, but super, super positive about it.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, even though we weren't very positive on the album itself, I think we were overall. but people were a little bummed we didn't like it as much as we did. But everyone is saying, please do more. Please do more.
Okay.
They think In Waves would be the album that I would like the most. And they weren't too sure about you. But but I do think that we are going to definitely do more Trivium here on the channel. We've also got Avenged Sevenfold coming up, which people are very excited for. I want to do Tool as well. Very excited for that. And then on the other side of things, I'm also doing some reactions with my cousin Cody. We're doing Blur and the Beatles. We're going through currently. And we also have an awesome electronic album video, or an electronic music video coming up that I've been working really, really hard to make sure is as good as it can be. And I'm very excited for when we record that. So we've got lots of fun stuff. So check out the channel. But even more importantly than all that stuff, head to our Discord because we have a great community there. I feel like every couple days there's a couple of people that join, and they're all from more recent videos, from the 21 Pilots videos or from the Trivium videos. And everyone's coming in. It is super nice. We have a nice small community there. And I don't know what's going to end up happening with Discord with all this, like, people crying about the fact that you have to like log in with your face now or whatever. In our country, as far as I understand, they haven't done anything yet.
No,
but I think in some places of the world, it's way harder for people to access Discord. But everyone on our Discord channel is over the age of 15, I think. So I don't think it would affect anybody. But anyway, I know Discord's been in a bit of hot water recently. So we'll see what ends up happening.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It's been a pretty controversial thing. I've been reading about it a little bit because I want to follow along with it in case something really terrible happens. But I love our Discord community a lot, and we're still small enough that if you watch this video and go there and like send messages to us, we will see them. It's not like a constant scrolling wall of text or anything, which I really appreciate. But check that out. We've got lots of fun stuff. What we're going to do in this video is we are going to listen to the entire album. We'll probably pause between some of the songs. If something seems like an intro or something like that, we might go through it into the next song. But we'll pause between songs to talk about what we're hearing. We're not going to really break down lyrics that much because that's not really what we do here. But we'll
especially with Rob Zombie, like
I'm not expecting too deep of stuff. And also, if I do listen to some of the lyrics, they're probably going to piss me off a little bit because I see lots of explicit lyric songs.
Graveyard, hey yeah, that's most of the songs.
Hey yeah. How many times are we going to hear baby? Come on, baby.
Right, yeah.
Come on, baby. Do me, baby.
A lot of yes, a lot of babies.
A lot of babies, a lot of yes, lots of oh yes. It's going to be great, hopefully. Maybe this will be the greatest, like, most awesome prog thing in the world. I highly doubt it, but I don't know.
Oh boy, that sounds unlikely.
Yeah. But anyway, check all that stuff out. We've got links for everything in the comments, and we are going to, like I said, just listen to the entire album. We'll pause, and then at the end of the video, we'll give our overall thoughts. So if you just want to skip to that, everything will be clearly time-stamped in the description, everything. So I don't have much to say, Chris, before we get into this. The only thing I did want to mention is that Rob Zombie and his approach to music can really vary from album to album. And some of his albums have a bit more of like a low-flying plane, a lo-fi, more like bluesy, gritty feel to them. And some of his albums feel a bit more industrial sounding. And I think his first two albums, the ones that had Riggs and Blasco on them, were way more industrial sounding. They had crisp production, very clear. We've talked about in the past, I think some of the best sounding, crunchy, like heavy electric guitars I have ever heard. And a lot of that has to do with their producer at the time, who was the same guy that produced Element 80, Powerman 5000, Methods of Mayhem, all these other albums that I really think of very highly in terms of their quality, and especially the way the chunkiness of the guitars sound. I really love that production style. I do not know who produced this album. I didn't look that up. I did try to find an interview or something Rob has done over the last couple of weeks explaining or talking about this album, and I couldn't find anything in my cursory search. It was just a bunch of reviews that came out about the album over the last couple of days because the album just came out. We're recording this on Sunday. The album just came out on Friday. So, and I didn't want to read any reviews because sometimes when I do that, it can really affect my opinion of something before I listen to it. So I try not to ever look at reviews of stuff before I listen to it. But I bring that all up to say that I'm curious if this album is going to be more like this sort of dirty, gritty, vinyl, scratchy record, old-timey sounding Rob Zombie, or because Riggs and Blasco are back, is it going to be... I've been seeing people saying it's a return to like Super Beast era and Dragula era.
I mean, if those two guys are back for the first time, I could see that happening.
Yeah, and I really don't know. Part of me doesn't think that it would be weird if it was like that, because he hasn't really done anything super high fidelity in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a nice mixture of the two things. You know, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a mixture of the two. So let's go ahead and look at the track listing, because I have not done that yet. I saw that it was 15 tracks, and I intentionally did not look at the song lengths, because I'm anticipating looking at the song lengths and being relatively disappointed. I remember specifically that being one of the reasons I skipped that Acid Warlock album, because I don't think there was like a single song over 3 minutes and 10 seconds long. Like there was 10 songs or whatever, and every one of them was like 2 minutes. So... However, that being said, Rob Zombie does have some bangers that are only like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, So as I look here, first track is almost 4 minutes, second track 3 minutes, 3.5. Heathen Days, which is track 4, is 2:17, and then we have a 30-second track. And it's very common for Rob Zombie to have these like interlude tracks that can be kind of creepy, horror themed, whatever. Maybe some sample stuff. Be cool if we got some more sample stuff. He's always done that, so.
So the producer on this album is, again, named Christopher Zeus Harris. I'm not sure if you recognize him. Sounds
okay.
like, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's done some other Rob Zombie albums with him.
The last few Rob Zombie albums, it looks like, some Queensryche and Demon Hunter. He did Extremist and the other one that you really like, the Duel album. War and Peace.
War and Peace. Oh, shoot. I forgot to go turn our furnace off, everybody. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can hear that, too.
Yeah, I'll go turn it off before we get to the music. But, yeah, those...
And Exile.
All that stuff you're saying is really, well... Exile. Dang it.
and there was a light here. It looks like the last several Demon Hunter albums.
Exile and There Was a Light Here, not produced well at all. But but Extremist, my favorite and the best sounding Demon Hunter, and I do really enjoy the sound of the last few Rob Zombie albums that I've heard.
Yeah.
So that's Venomous, Rat, Regeneration, Vender, and then their most recent one, which is the Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy thing, whatever that one was.
I will say on Exile, he only did mastering, so.
That was the worst mastering I've ever heard on an album.
Very good.
Yeah. Sorry, but that's literally all I talked about the entire reaction for that album. It was the most horrific mastering I've ever heard on anything. But anyway, yes, I have... Zeus does sound familiar to me, and I do think of big, pretty good sounding production. So I did not know that he was the guy that's been working with Demon Hunter the last few albums, so that's very interesting. But I do enjoy his work with Rob Zombie, so we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to sound bad. I do think Rob cares what his music sounds like.
Yeah.
Whereas I know for a fact that like Demon Hunter, they go in, perform their stuff, and then they leave and don't hear the album probably until it's on a shelf in a store, and they have to start learning the songs to play them live. So like I know they don't really care. But anyway, okay, so continuing down the track list, 3 minutes, 3:45, 2:30. So honestly, this is a lot of this stuff is pretty long compared to what I would think it would be. Punks and Demons, I know, is a big song for him that was released. It looks like they have 3 singles, track 3, 4, and 8. All have over 1 million plays. Everything else has, in just the last few days, it's been listened to 50,000 times over just last 2 days. So that's really great.
7.3-ish, 7.2 million monthly listeners.
That's awesome. You know, I just did a reaction to the Gorillaz album 2 days ago, and that was the day it came out, but that only had like 10,000 plays on it at the time. I think maybe 20,000. Whereas now I would expect every song to be probably over 1 million at this point, especially because of all the rave reviews that album's been getting. Although, let me tell you, Chris, every single Damon Albarn vocal on the new Gorillaz album is lo-fi distorted the entire time.
The whole time?
The entire album.
That's not good.
Now, he only does probably 50% of the vocals on the album, maybe a little less.
All right.
However, every single time he is featured, with the exception of one more ballady song, every other song, the other 14 tracks, he has this like, it sounds like his voice is coming out of a megaphone or a transistor radio or something like that.
I know exactly what the effect you're
Yeah, we've talked about it before with
sure.
In This Moment. You can totally ruin an album's vocals by having it be too much of that, and that's unfortunately what the whole album is. And which is a real bummer, because it's a really special, weird album, and I think they are going to win Grammys next year with this album. I think they are going to... It's going to be one of their most well-received albums they've ever had.
Interesting.
Does it deserve it? It's an interesting thought. I would love to go into that, but we're not talking about the Gorillaz. We're talking about something very different. Someone who, unfortunately, will probably never win an Oscar. Unless he wins... Or not an Oscar. Did I say Oscar? I meant Grammy.
You said, Oscar just now.
Yeah, but I meant Grammy. And whereas Rob Zombie could win an Oscar for music in a movie. So that...
Or a movie itself. You know, he directs.
Right. But I just meant like...
The day Rob Zombie wins Best Director is going to be really quite a slow year, I imagine.
That would be a very slow year. Yes, and especially, like, I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan, and his movies, to me, are kind of...
Yeah, they're not... They're not the best thing that he does.
They are not. Definitely not. Okay, so, but again, it looks like a lot of the songs are like over 3 minutes, maybe some 3.5. And then when we get further down the album, there's a pretty big chunk where it's 2:30, 2:47, 2:33, 1 minute, a minute 33. So it looks like from track 9 through track 15, there's only one song that is over 3 minutes. Everything else seems like there's 2 minute long song. There's 3 of the last 4 tracks. One of them looks like to be a real song.
Yeah.
The other 3 are all minute long. So we'll see. Now, maybe it's a crazy punk song. Rob Zombie has done that before, but it's probably some electronic drum beat with horror movie samples over it, which I love, which I do love. I'm not complaining about that, but I want as many full-length songs as we get. But I'm surprised at the number that are here, and I'm very happy about it. So before we hit play and start listening, I'm going to go turn off the furnace, and then I'll come right back, and we will start it. Sorry, I also grabbed some chapstick.
It's all right.
Because it's pretty dry here. We're in a bit of a drought. Mm-hmm. And it snowed last week or the week before, but not enough to make that big of a difference.
It's always so dry in the winter.
I know.
I don't miss that.
Okay, so one quick thing. 38 minutes long is the total length of this album, which is pretty long for a Rob Zombie album. He has, I think, maybe more than one album that's less than 30 minutes. So
we're not usually in black and white, by the way. That didn't really come up.
I figured people would figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Track 1 off of The Great Satan is F.T.W, which I would think might stand for the Win, but I doubt it. Knowing Rob Zombie.
F.T.W 84.
Yeah. Which could
Who knows what that is?
Could be some sort of a vehicle, because Thunderkiss 65, another famous... Oh, I should mention that too. I would love, more than anything else in the world, maybe there's other things I'd like a little bit more, but I would love to sit and listen with Chris to any White Zombie album, but specifically Astro Creep 2000, which I don't think you've heard. You've heard several songs off of it, but I would love to do a reaction to that in the future. So anybody that watches this reaction, let us know if that's something you would like to see, and then we'll do it, because I think he would
the White Zombie stuff,
really enjoy that album. Okay. Here we go. F.T.W 84 in 3, 2, 1.
May I have your attention, please? On behalf
Good.
of the government of the United States of
Nice and spooky.
I would like to welcome
Very
you
Power
to
Man.
the beginning of the greatest adventure of your lives.
All right, big guitars. Ooh, that kick drum.
Now we're talking.
So
can see where they talk about the Super Beast and stuff vibe coming back.
Sure. The cymbals sound like they have a flanger on them, which I hate it when people do that to cymbals.
Yeah. And they're very like left, right.
Yeah, but they sound very like almost MP3-ified, you know?
Yeah.
The snare drum sounds atrocious. Like there's not even a snare drum in there.
Yeah.
And the kick sounds weird too. I think they're using the actual drum sounds. If not, they chose really weird samples.
Different song now, for sure.
Yeah. A very Power Man. Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll pause it.
The drum positioning is really interesting. It's there's always different perspectives that you can portray music from. And it's like it's like you're sitting on the throne in the drums. You cymbal left, cymbal right, toms across the front, that sort of thing. But then you've also got Rob Zombie singing at you. So it's like he just turned around and now he's singing and the band is in like a little circle into the middle of the stage, theoretically, which is not really bad. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and we've talked about drum positioning before, and I prefer, and I think we all do, prefer to have, for example, the hi-hat on the left side when you're listening to music, which that would be from drummer perspective, because a vast majority of drummers are right-handed, and even if you're not, some left-handed drummers still do it this way, where you have the hi-hat off to your left, and you're drumming like this. And some people, when they mix an album and they're mixing drums, they put the drums the opposite way you would think, where the hi-hat's on the right, because they are thinking of the positioning of the drums from the perspective of looking at the drummer through like glass window at the studio or something. And I've never preferred that. I've never enjoyed... I personally like to think of it from the drummer's perspective. And then in that case, I think you're kind of right. I mean, that is kind of what's happening with a lot of rock mixes, right? Is the drums are from first-person perspective from the drummer, and then the vocals are always going to be right in the middle. So it is like the singer's standing right in front of you singing, and then the guitars are both standing on the side of you.
Yeah.
So very interesting. That mix was very weird. That it just was very weird.
In a lot of ways.
It was heavy. It was definitely heavy. And I think that it was heavy in a good way. However, I think that I don't think I cared for the drums really at all. The snare was very weird. Like I said, you could hear a hit on it almost sounded just more like a kick sound, like a different kick sound than a snare drum sound. So that was really weird. And then the compression and the way it was made, I'm not sure. It felt like the song had more breathiness to it at the end there when they were doing those big smashes, which would tell me that maybe the bass or the kick drum had some sidechain compression on it when the song was going a little bit more full force and it was kind of smushing things. But I don't think that my first impression wasn't going to be to say this is too overcompressed. I mean, I think that the drums and everything are very loud, but they don't sound like really great samples if it is drum replaced at all. If it's not, And one interesting thing and one good thing, I guess, about this is every song on this album could sound sonically completely different, and that wouldn't be super out of character for Rob Zombie. I do think his albums are pretty consistent. Like when you're hearing a song that is a big rock song, all those songs should sound sonically similar, but then there's going to be several songs on the album that just have no drums or whatever, and they're like acoustic guitar, or they use sitar before on some of their albums, and like slide guitar and things like that to give it a bit of like a creepy country vibe. Not country, not country like country music, but like southern, like gothic country, gothic voodoo-y, like hillbilly type sound, like Deliverance type of creepiness to it, and I like that kind of stuff. So I mean, we might get some of that, I assume, on this album too. But if every single song on this album that has heavy guitars and like rock drums on it sounds like that, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, lyrically, obviously not my favorite thing because of all the swear words, and that's fine.
You're gonna have so much cleaning up to do.
Well, I've gotten lazy with it. I just literally reverse that section now. I used to in all of our videos, like go through the song, find a section where it was similar sounding to that was in the same note of whatever was happening, and then like copy and paste it. But now I just reverse it because it's like, whatever. Why go to all that trouble for something no one cares about but me?
Yeah.
And is actually somewhat annoying to other people. So I do apologize for that. But the fact that he threw in, and the older I get, I feel like the less I am being forgiving of certain stuff. And the GD word just really bothers me a lot. I hate it when people use that. And I understand that it doesn't mean anything to a lot of people. And that's fine. Totally cool. But it does bother me, and he said it. That was the first word of the album that he said, and then he said it, I think, again at the beginning of the second verse. But I'm not going to let that bother me. If every song was like that, I would probably just have to censor the album myself. I wonder if I can go buy the clean version at Walmart. I don't think they make clean versions anymore, and Walmart now sells albums with explicit lyrics on it. So, but back in my day. You could go to Walmart and buy the clean versions of everything, which is how I have most of Rob Zombie's albums. But he wasn't really he didn't swear a lot in his music throughout his whole career. But that song, starting with the political, like, welcome to the United States, clearly seemed to have a bit of a message to it. And so I understand why he's saying the words he's saying and trying to get the anger across and stuff. And I think it worked in that regard. So
yeah,
not ruining the album for me. However, if like every single song was like that, then it would be tougher for me to listen to this. But sure. I don't think it will. I think that he maybe got his message across there, and then the rest of the album can just be fun stuff like he kind of more does. So we'll see. I don't know.
We'll find out.
All right, we are on to track 2, Tarantula, which is awesome. Makes me
for some reason
Pendulum song. Tarantula.
I have a good feeling about this song.
Okay,
I don't know why, but
Well, let's see what happens. This is Tarantula in 3, 2, 1.
If we want to live, we must die.
Great. Ooh, more power, man. Yep.
Yep, it's the same drums. The kick drum is higher frequency than the snare drum, which should never happen.
Interesting.
Like, where's the snare drum?
It is the softest pillow to...
Yeah. Okay, a little bebopping, scatting.
Cool.
I think the guitars sound good.
Yeah. They're doing some non-Rob Zombie sounding stuff. Like, this is the kind of thing you'd hear in, you know, more normal-esque type of heavy music.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say it's a little heavier than you normally think of with Rob Zombie.
Does he do a lot of double bass?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Very rarely. Die. That was cool on the hits.
Yeah.
The kick drum's too loud in relation to everything else.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just got too much high frequency. Wow, okay, well, let's pause it.
Yeah. The album art now makes a little bit more sense.
Okay, you think so?
All the legs, all the arms.
Yeah.
I mean, there are only 6, which does not a spider make. So, you know, you can erase your comments, but that was one thing I thought of.
Yeah, So that was mixed the same way the first track was mixed, which is interesting. There is something really wrong with the drums. I think that the kick is too present, especially in relation to the snare, and that is causing my brain to kind of be like, "Where's the snare?" Whereas I feel if they took the intensity of the kick and just brought it down a little, or they shaved off some of those higher frequencies of the kick, it might allow the snare to stand out a little bit more, and the mix would be a little bit more balanced that way. As it is now, it feels like you're just hearing kick and you're not hearing any snare. Now, there is clearly snare in there, and when they were doing some drum fills, you could really hear the kick or the snare. The cymbals, I think, are fake as hell. I think they are not real cymbals. I think, which maybe the whole drum kit is an electronic drum kit that is not outside of the realm of possibility for Rob Zombie, but something is funky with the cymbals. I think the cymbals were less present in that song, but they are so isolated to the left and the right sides where they were put.
Which is weird.
That it sounds to me like there is no overhead microphones, which is fine. You can make good sounding music like that. But if that is the case, you should pan your cymbals in way less. You should pan them in more to have more of a mono sounding drum sound. And I think that would be way better.
Well, and I'm wondering too, like, the only reason I can think to stick the cymbals way out on the sides like that is to help free up the center for more highs, like in vocals and snare and stuff like that. Guitars, all of that mess.
Yep.
But where are they?
Yeah, like I'm not having a problem with the lack of high frequencies in the song. Like a lot of the times here on the channel, if you're new here, we talk about albums over the last 5, 6, 7 years that just have no high end in them at all. It seems like the mastering engineer just low passed the entire mix at like 3K, and there's just nothing above that, which is super disappointing to us. And this doesn't sound like that. There is high frequencies in this. I think where there, like kind of like you just said, where there are high frequencies, it doesn't really make a ton of sense. I don't want to say it's like super sidechain compressy. Like it's not, you don't hear the pumping of that, some of what you usually get with that.
Yeah.
But the dynamics of the song feel kind of weird when Rob Zombie's vocals get wide, which I like. I like that they're doing that. It's a good way to make the vocals feel like there's different parts throughout the songs. It makes it feel bigger. Obviously, when there's multiple takes in there, they're spread wide. I like Rob Zombie's vocals, what he's doing. He's doing his sort of higher pitched, intense vocal, which he doesn't do all the time. Sometimes he has a bit of a lower one, and then he also does his like singy, like voice a lot. And so far both songs have just been his like raspier high voice the entire time pretty much. So very interesting.
And they're in there. They haven't really sounded like they were getting lost anywhere. So
No,
that's good.
no, I agree. If anything, I think the music is being affected by the vocals more than the vocals being drowned out by the music.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is I'm a Rock and Roller. Now, I will also say, Rob Zombie, very famous on his first two albums for that industrial feel, that sort of Static X 4 to the floor dancey feel.
Yeah.
So far with the first two tracks, that has been gone completely. And before this, saying this is a return to the Sinister Urge / Hellbilly Deluxe days, that is the thing I would think of probably first. The more dancey, poppy feel to it. Not with these two songs at all.
Like the personality of what makes Rob Zombie songs so iconic is actually a little bit missing, I think, here. Like, I think when I was talking earlier about how like the guitars and some of it parts just sounded like more like regular metal songs. Like I don't really know how to say it, but I think that it's like I don't recall ever hearing in a Rob Zombie song a guitar riff or technique that I have heard other places. But now it's like, oh, that guitar, that's just sounds like this band, or the way that this played sounds like this band. It has a little bit less flavor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just doing different stuff because you're right.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of Rob Zombie songs have pretty simple, almost more like rock and roll type of riffs, but they're just really distorted and heavy, and that's what gives it that feel. And then with the dancey beat gives it its uniqueness. And then I will say all the lead guitars we've heard are really screechy, and there's some like sliding and stuff, and that is very Rob Zombie. So that has felt really Rob Zombie right away. But like there were like triplets and stuff where the guitars were going like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which like not a Rob Zombie thing. And usually on Rob Zombie's albums, there are 2 or at most 3 like heavy rockin' songs, and then everything else is kind of like you have no idea what you're gonna get. It could be like a surf rock song, could be a ballad, could be piano, could be acoustic guitar, could be still a heavy song, could be more of a punky song. But there's always like 2 songs. Like there's Demon Speeding, there's Demonoid Phenomenon, there's Astro, there's Super Beast, there's every one of his albums has those like 2 or at the most 3 heavy songs. And then everything else is kind of who knows. And so we just got 2 songs like that. So now is the rest of the album going to be different? Is this going to be his heaviest album ever? And all the songs are going to be like this? I'm really curious. And the anger of that first track and the very pinpointed, like my country sucks or whatever type of thing, whatever message he was trying to get across, not in that one at all. That was like a cool horror, tarantula thing.
Yeah, true.
Unless the tarantula is some sort of metaphor for the something else or whatever, but he was just doing the tarantula, and it was weird to hear him say "All Hail Tarantula" because the album's called "The Great Satan," so I keep expecting him to say "Hail Satan,"
Yeah. It almost makes me wonder if the album title is like satirical in some way or like tongue in cheek.
I actually was thinking that in the first track too. Where because it could be because also, and I hate to bring this up, and I don't want it to affect the video in any way or anything, but like with all the Epstein stuff that's going on as well in the world right now, like that first track made me think about that a little bit, and it's like he mentioned Hollywood and celebrities, and he's part of Hollywood, so he knows the machine, but he goes out of his way to work outside of it. And he stated that he hated working on those Halloween remakes because it was part of the machine, and he hated that. And so, there could be more specific pointed messages on this album that we probably won't get into, but it is interesting to keep that in mind because I'm sure Rob Zombie has come across some of those really like horrific creeper people out there in these. Yeah. So like it's interesting. Something I guess keep in mind. But again, we're not really lyric breakdown people here. And it's funny to even bring it up just real quick because Rob Zombie is like one of the last artists I would think of that would make me even question listening to the lyrics at all, because it's normally, like we said, like "Come On Babies" and "Hey Yas" and stuff, and totally like superficial lyrics. So,
and this next upcoming song, "I'm a Rock and Roller," reminded me of the period of time when I was a kid where my mom had a license plate that was "Rollin' Rock."
Interesting. I like that. It's she couldn't
get rock and roll because it was taken, but she wanted it so bad. So ended up with Rollin' Rock. Yep.
I actually really like that. I've never heard that. I don't know if that's a thing anywhere else, but Rollin' Rock is hilarious. And that should absolutely be some huge corporation or great band name or whatever. Rollin' Rock. I love that, actually. A lot. I like that's. I'm shocked how much that's very clever to me. You've shook me a little because Rollin' Rock.
That's really funny.
How could I never have thought of that?
I know. I don't know. It's just as equally inane, but for whatever reason,
you're right. But I love it. That needs to be some kind of Boulder company or something. I mean, something.
I mean, it is a beer, I guess. Rolling Rock. Oh, so there's that.
I guess that's true. I have heard of that. I don't know. Oh well. Okay, I'm a rock and roller. This is very much in line with Rob Zombie. We're an American band. He sings about rock and roll. He sings about all this stuff. So this is very on brand for him. And this is, I believe, a song they released as a single. So we'll see if it's produced any different than the first two. This is track 3, I'm a Rock and Roller, in 3, 2, 1. Very Power Man 5000.
Tambourine.
Yes. And we got some claps at the beginning.
Yep.
This is awesome. I love this so far.
This is very Power Man.
Yes. Every guitar note we've heard that's a big chunky guitar note has been one note this entire time. Okay, now it's a little different.
Now we're getting some old Rob Zombie here. White Zombie.
Yeah. Man, that tambourine is right here in my ear.
It is, yeah. Like, back up.
I don't think those are guitars right now, what we're hearing in the back. Those are synth bass.
Yeah.
And that's the guitar, obviously. One note. Yeah. Very interesting.
Man.
Okay. What's your
rock and roll
thoughts
is
there?
such a stupid, like, rock and roll, and like sentiments like that, like rock and roll is here to stay, and like, I don't know if the universal perception of rock and roll is as cringy and stupid as my personal one, just based on the way that it was presented. Like, my mom is a big fan of rock and roll, you know?
Right. Which,
As
what does
per
that even
story.
mean? What a nebulous term.
Right. But at the same time, there's, as difficult as it is to identify what rock and roll is, it's significantly easier to identify what it isn't.
Right. Or what it was when it first came about to be.
And has it changed a lot, do you think, since it started?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like
this is a fun conversation we can definitely get into if we want to. But like, to me, rock music is short for rock and roll music.
I agree with that.
So like, to me, what to you would be a modern rock band?
Oh boy, that's going to be tricky, because I feel like the only answer is the newest thing from a band that's 40 years old.
I know, right? See, the band I always think of when I think of as a rock band is Matchbox 20. which I know most people consider them like, oh, look at their first album from 1996 was great, but like their most recent album was really good. But like why I think of them is because they make popular music that is a band performing a song, which to me is rock
Too
music. But the thing is, so much music nowadays that's popular is electronic music.
Right.
Which we are going to have a huge video talking about that on the channel soon. But there's not very many artists that are popular that use a band, a drummer, a guitar player, a bass player, that are not metal, right?
Man, this is an interesting thought, yeah.
But then we're getting into what is alt rock? What's the difference?
Yeah.
Which is something I'm not as familiar with, because I don't consider anything to be alt rock, I guess. But
there's plenty of alt rock, yeah.
Sure. I mean, I would say it's one of the biggest genres of music, but to me, alt rock is like a subgenre of rock. So, duh. So like all those bands that are alt rock bands to me are also rock bands. So like Death Cab for Cutie, Modest Mouse, you know, alt. Bands that sound like a band performing and that can go on a stage and perform without a laptop.
But
rock band. But most bands prefer not to do that.
Yeah.
Imagine Dragons cannot perform without a laptop. One Republic cannot perform without a laptop. AWOL Nation.
Yeah. I guess
21 Pilots.
If it's like a rock band where it's like in front of rock, you have this parenthetical blank space.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it is a rock and roll band, or it is an alt rock band.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anybody would ever say alt rock and roll unless maybe they were
right.
English.
So the rock and the and roll part, I agree with you, is making this really interesting, because I would also think of something like the Black Keys, rock band. Total, like I would have no question saying Black Keys are a rock band.
But are they a rock and roll band?
I think they could make rock and roll music, and some of their songs would be I could think of them that way. Actually, yes, especially their most recent stuff, which you probably haven't heard, but their last like 3 albums, I would definitely say could be rock and roll classified as.
Interesting. Because
they also have obviously their blues rock, I would say maybe first and foremost, but they've really left the blues part behind and are more like 60s and specifically 70s rock and roll music. Like they're closer to Fleetwood Mac now than they would be to Delta blues, dirty Delta blues stuff from back in the day. Like garage.
So who would you say is like a quintessential like poster child of rock and roll as a genre?
Elvis Presley.
Oh. Okay, I see why you have said all of the things you've said then, because I would disagree with that. But
okay.
Even though he's like the king of rock or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But it's going to be something I'm trying not to pick something bad.
Sure.
But I don't have a great association with rock and roll as a genre.
Well, what are you thinking that what you think would be bad? Like what's the first thing that you think of?
Deep Purple.
Ah. See, to me that's blues rock.
Classic rock is a different
classic
thing,
rock.
potentially.
Yeah, and that opens a whole can of worms. Like you said, it's blank rock, alt rock, classic rock, blues rock, you know.
Is rock definable? Or is it just a default statement?
To me, it's the inclusion of guitars and real drums and bass.
Yeah, and I think your separation of whether or not it contains any electronic elements.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying it can't.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it can't, because I do think there are rock bands that, that do have lots of electronics in them. But if you can get on a stage and perform your music, which I don't even know, that's maybe a really bad way to explain it. But specifically, I don't think you can be rock without having a guitars in your band.
I agree with that.
So there have to be guitars. Would there have to be a bass? Probably not. Like the Black Keys don't have a bass player, but they have bass in a lot of their bass guitar in a lot of their
guitar
songs.
And drums. But I don't think you're getting away with rock without drums.
I would agree, because if you have electronic drums in your song, you're an electronic group. Especially if you have electronic drums and no guitar, you are electronic. Which we are going to. This is so funny we're talking about this, because I have been planning this what is electronic music video for 2 months, and I have 5 hours in our playlist that we're going to listen to in one video in 2 hours, so it's going to be a miracle. We're going to have to pause time and space to do it. But this is so fun to talk about this kind of stuff. But maybe let's not get too sidetracked. We don't need to talk for 40 minutes between tracks 3 and 4. Or 4 and 5.
No joke. I'll be right back.
While he's gone, I'll show this. Something Rob Zombie fans really care about. This is a toy from Burger King from the 90s. It is a Mr. Potato Head. I'm guessing 96 maybe, when the Olympics were pretty popular. Okay, so I do want to talk about
flipping potato head there.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do want to discuss the song a little bit, because my initial reaction to that song was, heck yeah, this is Rob Zombie. And there were things in there that I didn't care for as much, like the constant distortion on his voice. And, however, Rob Zombie has a lot of songs in his catalog that contain maybe a majority of things in that song I don't care for. But for me, Rob Zombie is wrapped in this package that's not 100% perfect all the time. And it doesn't bother me. I really enjoy the things that he does that I don't necessarily like in other artists, because it fits the aesthetic of what Rob Zombie's music is. And there was a lot of fun stuff in there that I really enjoyed. And there was also a lot of Power Man 5000, like we mentioned multiple times there. And I have to say, too, like I pointed out, the first half of that song contains one guitar note, chug, right? And it's a chug on one note, and it's there the whole time. And then once it went into the more like actual riffy dun 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 part type thing, that was when it felt super Rob Zombie. And
that was almost White Zombie, a
little bit. Yeah, Rob Zombie never used detuned guitars like that. Their guitars weren't really usually super heavy like that. They can be, but anyway, yeah. So that was fun, and there was some fun stuff in there. And I want to make a prediction. This is going to be a bold prediction. Okay, this has nothing to do with anything, but I'm very excited to say this and see if this comes true. Okay, are you ready? Mm-hmm. That song will be featured in Grand Theft Auto 6.
Wow.
I think it will be even more featured than just on a radio station. I think it will be in a cutscene at some point.
You're really getting into specifics now.
Yeah. I what's the point of making a bold prediction if it ain't bold?
That's fair.
But I think, in GTA 6, there will be some biker gang or something. There will somewhere in the music, a majority of the music in that game is going to be Latin vibes, Bad Bunny style stuff. And that's fine. That's the theme of that game, I believe. And it's in Miami. So, of course, it will be. But there's going to be a metal radio station. There will be biker gangs. There will be... From the early rumors were that one of the side jobs you're going to have as Jason in the game is that you actually maybe do work for a recording studio. And so, and there's a lot of rumors about that. And there's going to be a lot of missions featuring artists and stuff. There will be, you know what? I'm even going to make this. I think Rob Zombie will be in GTA 6.
That, honestly, I'm more on board with that than the previous prediction.
Well, I mean, if Rob Zombie's in it, they're obviously going to use a song of his. And I think GTA 6 is going to lean very heavily into being a current game and not lean into nostalgia, of course. You know, it's set in a present time, and there's going to be throwback songs in it. I'm not saying there's not. Of course there is. But, like, I think that they are going to... Like the idea that Dragula or Rob Zombie's most famous song would be in it, I think I could see that. But he is the perfect artist to be featured in something like that, because even if you don't know Rob Zombie's music, you are probably aware of Rob Zombie. He's enough in the zeitgeist. If nothing else, his damn name is Zombie, and you see him and you go, okay, that's this dude. Like super easy to insert into something like that. I have no reason to think any of this, but I wanted to throw that out there because I just think it's funny, and I think that song could be used in a cutscene or being played in a bar when they're going to a biker bar or something. And if there is a lot of, I think a majority of the music in the game is going to be rap music. I think that's just given for sure. But there's also a lot of like in the trailers and stuff. There's a lot of like redneck stuff. Imagery, Florida man imagery, stuff like that. So there could be also some punk heavy metal music stuff incorporated into some of that. And I think that Rob Zombie would be the perfect artist for that.
Yeah, perfect vessel.
Yes. Yes. So So if this happens,
yep, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Okay, now we're going into a track that is 2 minutes and 17 seconds. This is Heathen Days. Now, we've had 3 pretty heavy songs in a row. That song was a little bit more, like, less heavy the entire time, and more along the lines of what I thought we would be getting. So I'm curious to see what we're going to be getting here, and we'll see. We'll play it by ear to see whether or not we're going to just continue into the next track. I am assuming the song Who Am I, which is track 5, is going to lead into track 6, Black Rat Coffin. So
yeah, I agree.
But first, we'll get to track 4, Heathen Days, in 3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Whoa. Okay. Super Beast.
Yep. Like those guitar things don't happen in Rob Zombie songs.
Yeah. I'm distracted by the drums all the time. I'm trying to figure out what's so wrong with them. I think it's just a lack of snare.
I was gonna say, well, the snare is a lot higher now, but it's also a lot further away. There's a lot of weird distance in this song.
Yeah, the vocals. It definitely sounds like it was mixed by a guitar player. Guitar! I turn guitar up! More guitar! See, now when I was hearing the kick drum isolated like that, it sounded like a really fake sounding kick drum. We'll pause it.
Okay.
That was the weakest song on the album, in my opinion, so far.
That was a nothing song.
It had it had the strangest production so far, with the vocals being really far in the background. At the beginning of the song, I feel like there was a few more like electronic elements in there, and some of the stuff that was in there were these electronic snare drums, which that is something I noticed in the previous song as well. It felt like they were adding a lot of extra noises to the song, and a lot of the noises that they were adding were like sounds, like sound effects on the snare drum, like on the hits of the snare drum, which made it feel like the lack of snare drum mattered less in that one, if that makes sense.
It was one of the, at one point I was like trying to pick out like, okay, what instruments am I currently hearing? And it was like mostly just a guitar or two. Why does this sound like so much more is happening? Where's this noise coming from?
Yeah, I think there was more. Yeah, that was weird because I liked the guitar riff. It was a very simple Rob Zombie guitar riff. Right away, it made you think of Super Beast, but I think this is the worst sounding Rob Zombie album. I think so. And the other thing that is, this is reminding me kind of, the album of his that this reminds me of the most so far is actually Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2, which is my least favorite Rob Zombie album. And I do enjoy...
His third album, right?
No, that's his fourth one. Oh. The third album is the one with the horse on the front, Educated Horses, which had Foxy, Foxy, what's it gonna be? That one. And Let It All Bleed Out. But I don't think you've heard that one, which that's the one I want to listen to the most with you guys, but it just doesn't make any sense. But that album in particular, Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2, is very much a live album. That one for sure has real drums on it. And at the final track has like a 10-minute long drum solo. It's like super badass. It's very live sounding, that whole album, which is weird because this doesn't sound live really at all. It sounds very fake in really interesting ways. And I just want to point out to people who are watching, like when I say like fake drums and stuff, like I'm not saying that in a negative way. Rob Zombie's drums have always sounded fantastic. And I think one of the reasons for that is because a lot of what we're hearing are just drum replaced, triggered sounds, right? Very crisp and clear, very consistent. And there was a moment there in that song where the kick drum was just kind of playing by itself and you could hear, there was no guitars or anything. And I was listening to it and I was like, wow, that sounds like a weird electronic sounding kick drum, which I hadn't thought of the entire time before this on the songs before this. It sounded like a real kick drum to me that was just mixed weird. But now I'm wondering if they just chose a funky sample or some multiple samples to put together to create what they thought sounded really good, but it isn't. I don't know. And then the fact that the snare drum is just so non-existent is just so disappointing to me because the drums are so important in his music. You know, it is about that beat, and we're not really feeling that. You don't feel, there's no snare to feel at all, and it's very surprising. And then the guitars were so present on that song, and just kind of smothering everything there, which hadn't been a problem on the album thus far. So, I don't know. I'm glad it wasn't any longer because it didn't need to be.
No.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it needed to be more interesting, really. But.
Yeah. And another thing Rob Zombie has done on all of his albums is that there's always several tracks throughout the album that are just so lo-fi but it's like the whole song's supposed to sound like it's coming out of a radio that was made in the 30s. And like, that's just the whole gimmick of the song. You know, that's kind of one of the things that bothers me. That's why I like the Sinister Urge more than Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 1, because Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 1 has more of those kind of tracks where it's like, why did you do this? Why doesn't this sound like a normal song? Whereas Sinister Urge, every single song sounds like a real song. And we talked about that a lot in that reaction, but
that's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. It's really confusing to me because on one hand, I feel like, this is Rob Zombie. So it's making me feel good. But I feel like that's a much smaller hand. that's a hand belonging to the dude from the Scary Movies or whatever. That little guy with the little hands. You know what I mean? That guy. That's the hand. Whereas the other hand is a big giant foam hand that you get at a sporting event, and that's the bad hand. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Is that a horrible analogy? Yeah.
Yes, but it works.
It's okay.
It still works.
Yeah, whatever. Hopefully people know what we're talking about. Okay, let's move on to track 5, Who Am I? And we'll just listen to it going into Black Rat Coffin. Okay? Mm-hmm. So this is Who Am I? Followed by Black Rat Coffin in 3, 2, 1.
People have lost themselves.
See, all the electronic stuff sounds good to me. This all sounds perfectly adequate, high fidelity quality.
Find themselves wondering, what am I? Where am I? But mainly, who am I? And they're lost in the process. They've lost their own identity.
That like beep thing is very, very Power Man. Like he probably borrowed that from Spider. It's like, can I have your beep bop thing?
Okay, wow. Wow.
Let's go. Big anvil underneath the snare or whatever.
I think there might be too many low frequencies in the guitar. Like, listen to how these guitars sound. Like, I think this sounds pretty good. But those these guitars sound fine, sound good. But during that chorus part, when he said Black Rat Coffin, it sounded extra distorted to me. Like they ran the distorted guitars through some kind of an extra filter. We'll see if it happens again.
I think there is something heavier added to that.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was. We'll pause it. Maybe that's what it was. They just had like an additional track of guitar in there, or, you know, nowadays, what most heavy albums that you hear, the guitars are reamped. So what is actually recorded is a dry signal from the electric guitar. And then they take that signal and they run it back through an amps, and they can change the sound. And then what you do is you just layer multiple reamped signals from that one single guitar performance. Does that make sense to you?
I don't understand, like, when you say running it back through the amp, do you mean that the amp that it's played? Like,
yeah. So we've never talked about this before, I don't think, and I won't go deep. I'll just stay surface level with this. So if you are a guitar player and you are making a metal album, we'll just say, for example, I have literally done this before. And I'm not saying that I've done it better than Rob Zombie or anything like that. I'm just saying I've experienced this process. The guitar player sits in the room or wherever he's at, and maybe you have your guitar cable going into a room with an amp and you're recording that, and that's fine, but you don't care about that signal too much because there's a DI box or a splitter that is also coming from your guitar that is just sending the no distortion, just completely clean signal to a track by itself, right? And then what you do is you record both of those. You record the distorted track coming from the amp and then the totally clean dry signal. And then what you do is you edit the guitars on the clean track. And you get it sounding, and you can use the sound of the distorted one to make your edits, but you do it to both tracks together. And you get it so that the guitar track, the performance is perfect. So if you do multiple takes, you can edit those takes together and everything, but then what you're left with at the end is one guitar performance track that is totally clean, dry guitar signal. Mm-hmm. Then you take that track and you run it through a signal into a guitar amp. And then the guitar player goes in there and they find the perfect guitar tone or whatever, and then they record. You do that for every song on the album. And then you pick your guitar tone and you record a guitar tone for every song on the album, playing through that the guitar player is not done playing at this point.
I see.
And then you just play that perfect take of guitar, dry signal, into an amp. And then what you do is you record it and then you change the way the guitars sound. If you want, you can find a complementary sound. You can find a sound that, works really nicely, or you can find a sound that might fit on the left side or something like that. But usually that you do this same process for the guitars on the left and the guitars on the right. So for now, let's just pretend I've been talking about the right the whole time. Maybe take 3 or 4 tracks that you've recorded of that same performance with different sounding guitar tones, different amps, different amp headers, stuff like that. And then, but because it's the same exact performance, right? It's the same track of performance for each one. It's an identical, there's no transients out of line. Everything is perfect.
It's almost like you're taking that clean signal and turning it into effectively a MIDI track.
Kind of. It would essentially be the same thing as if you took that original guitar signal and split it into 4 different rooms with 4 different amps. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you edit the track first. And so then what you do is that's how you get a consistent guitar sound for across the whole album. Back in the day, you just couldn't change the settings of the amps, right? So they would put tape on the amp to be like, oh God, nobody touched the amps, because we're in the middle of recording this. So for like 2 months while the band's recording, you cannot touch the amps ever. And there have been very famous examples throughout history of someone unplugged an amp, or someone messed with a cleaning guy, hit his mop up against the thing, and the dial turned, and that's why the guitars don't sound the same on this album across the whole thing.
That's really interesting.
But this reamping is a very common way for guitars to be done across all sorts of heavy albums nowadays. And then what you do is you do that for the guy on the right and the guy on the left. That this is probably, I would assume, people in our Discord can come let us know. I assume this is how Metallica records their stuff. They record it with a direct signal from James's guitar, and then they go through and they pick the sounds that make it sound perfect. Now, James is also very famous for doing multiple tracks of guitars. So like he'll play his guitar track, and then he'll play the guitar track again with a slightly different sound, and then play it again. And he's just playing so perfectly that it makes the guitar sound thicker, and it's like a big wall of multiple tracks of guitars. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can't do that. And
that makes him a legend, don't you understand?
Well, I think there's a lot of bands that still do that as well. However, this reamping is the most. I mean, it's just the way things are done, from my understanding, and it just makes it so nice. You know, you don't have multiple transients on every single guitar hit then, which maybe some people miss that kind of stuff, but you know, especially like prog music and stuff would probably be done this way, but maybe not, because those guys want to be more in control of what it sounds like. So I don't know, but for this, I don't even know why I brought that up. Why did I bring that up? Oh,
I have no idea.
Because we were talking about the guitars throughout that song, and because it sounds like they did something extra to the track for that guitar.
Oh yeah,
during the chorus there, and it might just be that they had an extra track. It might be that to me, it sounded like they took that track of guitars and then they added an effect to the already distorted track of guitars, some extra thing, some bit crunchiness or something, because it was like a crispiness to it.
Yeah,
that wasn't there on the rest of the song.
It's like the time that I used a pot of coffee as water to make another pot of coffee to see if it was just like super strong, and it was terrible, but it was.
But exactly, that's literally yes. That's a good analogy. Not the small big hand thing. That was stupid.
Yeah.
But yes, you got it. That's exactly it. So yeah, I don't know. That wasn't my favorite song on the album either. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as bad as Heathen Days. But I think the first 3 tracks, and specifically "I'm a Rock and Roller," is my favorite song on the album so far.
Good. But
we're coming up to one of the bigger songs on the album as well. Oh man, it looks like Heathen Days was also a big single. Blech.
Mm-hmm.
Blech. Okay, this is Punks and Demons.
No, it's not. We got to go to track 7.
Oh, we're on Sir Lord Acid Wolfman? We would not want to skip Sir Lord Acid Wolfman. Okay, well then we're on to Sir Lord Acid Wolfman, which I just love. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1.
Here may he lie forever. Rest in peace.
Appropriate.
Completely different drums, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Really dry guitar.
The bass is so funny here.
Very distorted.
Well, it's in the center, it's like, and then you get the boom, boom, boom on the sides.
Yeah.
So.
This is the best production on the album we've heard so far.
Yeah, it helps that it's cool. Very sparse.
Yeah, yes. And everything you're hearing is dry.
Yeah. It's a nonsense song.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, no one's ever called you Sir Lord Acid Wolfman. No matter what you look like, no matter who you are, no one's ever said that.
It's so weird that the bass hits dead center and then splits.
Yeah. Because I think I think that's a synth bass.
Oh, okay. I wondered if it was a different instrument.
Yeah, different thing. The snare drum sounds way better on this song.
Mm-hmm.
I like his high-pitched scream here. Ooh.
6 feet under.
Interesting effect.
Yeah, that was like very Middle Eastern sounding guitar. Yes, I think that's a synth bass.
Yeah, I agree.
Ba-dum-dum. This is my favorite song so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that guitar tone, it's very much like a pungi.
Yeah, if it like even was a guitar.
The snake charmer flute thing.
Yes, exactly.
I think it was.
I think it was too. But that's really cool. I like how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that whole song was cool. It had a cool vibe during the verse. The chorus was big. It was kind of stoner rocky, which is another style of music. Stoner rock, another style of rock music that I associate with Rob Zombie. For sure. So, yeah, that was great. I liked it.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And I liked his higher screamed vocals during the chorus there. You know, it was he has different voices that he uses, and I don't know if I've heard him do such a defined chorus with that specific style being featured so prominently and only during the chorus. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, no. Oh, go ahead.
Of all the songs, like when we get to the album, we always have this problem where it's like, what was the first 3 songs? What were they? Like, what is 5, 6, and 10? Like, who remembers?
Yeah.
But that one will be easy to remember.
Yep. Unless the rest of the album is just banger after banger like that.
Yeah.
But I doubt it. But that one was like...
What a weird album that would be.
Yeah. But that was the best production we've heard. I thought the snare drum sounded way better. It sounded really hollow, the snare drum, but it was more present. There was a bit snappiness to it as well. But it just, I liked it. And no one's ever called you Sir Lord Acid Wolfman. No one's called anybody that ever in the history of humanity. But whatever. Right. But also, Rob Zombie probably watched a movie once where the main character was Sir Lord Acid Wolfman, and so someone did call that guy Sir Lord Acid Wolfman.
Yeah. We'll never know.
I don't know. Okay, now we're to something that's very interesting to me. The Devilman. Or no, Punks and Demons. Shoot, I keep looking one song ahead. Sorry. Never mind. This is interesting to me as well, because Punks and Demons seems to be another big single for him. So we'll see, because so far the singles that they've released, we really enjoyed I'm a Rock and Roller, but Heathen Days has been the weakest song on the album, I think.
Yeah, except for... No, yeah, that one for sure.
Yeah, Heathen Days was the short one with the vocals in the background more. So we'll see what's Punks and Demons. I want it to be it's only 2:30, so I want it to be like a faster, punkier song. If not, I feel like it's not advertising the correct thing. All right, Punks and Demons in 3, 2, 1. Okay, not punky. Maybe. I mean, this is like Ministry.
Yeah.
Listen to that snare drum now all of a sudden. The kick's gone and the snare is back.
If this is how the whole song's gonna sound, I'm not into it.
Yeah, what sounds weird.
It sounds like when they do a lead into when the song then just blows up and gets all of its frequencies back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's gonna get them all back.
I feel like there are frequencies that should have been EQ'd out of the guitars. You know, between like 1 and 3K.
There's a lot of weird, echoey something happening in the middle. Like a crowd almost.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What is that sound?
I think it's a low passed vocal. It's not. Is it in there when there's no vocals?
No. Sort of. It's another one of those songs that, one, what was that? And two, there's not a lot happening, but there's noise filling in the gaps, so it just sounds like it's so much sound.
Attacking, kind of. Yeah. Which I do think, like I said, I think I figured out what's going on with the guitars. There are frequencies that should have been cut out of it, like scooped out of it. And they're high frequencies, which normally you focus on scooping out the mids, you know, so that the album doesn't get woofy sounding. And I think they did that correctly on this. Because there are lows to the guitars for sure, and I'm debating if there's too many, but the crispiness to the guitars, which normally when I'm talking about something sounding crispy, it's in like a positive way. Like I want those crispy frequencies in there, but there can be too much crisp, and this isn't like the clarity, like the defining frequencies that like help make the definition of a sound, but it's the white noisy part that you should EQ out. And it's like they didn't get rid of it.
Such a white noise track. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get rid of it. And some guitars do sound more white noisy than others, and a lot of the time that has to do with the type of distortion and pedals that you're using and stuff like that. And sometimes it can sound really good, and it can still sound like it has a lot of definition to it. But in this case, it just feels like there's some crispy frequency in there that is like really fried that needed to be scooped out of the mix of the guitars that wasn't. And I can literally picture doing it. And once you filter sweep it, you boost the frequencies with a EQ that's really pinpoint EQ, and then sweep it across, and you get to that one frequency, you're like, oh, what is this? And then you get rid of it, and the whole thing just sounds more clear. Like,
it's funny that you mentioned doing it that way, because I make the dip. I make a little point, and I highlight just that, and then I do the same thing, and I just find it's like, oh, there, that thing I hate is gone now, and then that's it.
Oh, interesting. Oh, the way I do that is you boost the crap out of it, and then you sweep it to find when it's like, oh, get that out of there.
That's funny.
But both of those methods work totally just as well. But it sounds like, or it almost to me sounds like someone was doing that, and then they forgot to turn that to go down instead of up. Like but because there is definitely some. And again, I want to say this. I don't think it sounds terrible. We have listened to way worse sounding stuff on this channel. But there is something about this that is a bummer to me, because I do think this is the worst sounding Rob Zombie album. I think.
It's wild how often that's been happening. I was going to bring this up earlier, but it's so strange, especially with these older bands, where it's like, why is it that you've been doing this for 30 plus years and only now are you struggling to make something sound as good as it can, when it is technically easier than ever to make something sound as good as it can?
Yeah, I think it's because the people who are mixing stuff don't know how to do it right.
Yeah. I think they're relying on using new tools for old techniques or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe, or it's just the people. I don't know. That's a really interesting thing, because But we are doing a Rob Zombie reaction. I'll probably leave a lot of that in because I think it's good conversation. Let us know if you enjoyed that, whatever. But now we're moving on to track 9, The Devilman, which is interesting to me because Devilman is a phrase Rob Zombie has used throughout his catalog, and he references like they call me the whatever Devilman, and then the chorus of one of his most famous White Zombie songs, which is called Supercharger Heaven, is Devilman, Devilman, call me Devilman, running in your hand, said Devilman. So like the phrase Devilman is something he has used in choruses. He's used it throughout his entire career. He's never had a song called The Devilman. So this is...
Oh, okay. I see why you wanted to bring this up earlier.
If there was a way to hype me up for a song, it would be this. Now, is it going to let me down? Very likely. But, however, based on the history of this term in Rob Zombie's career, usually his Devilman songs are bops. So,
all right,
let's listen to this and see what we think. Devilman in 3, 2, 1.
Cool.
Wasn't expecting
cool
that.
Right away.
I want an organ in this song. Listen to that good sounding snare. Ooh. Huh. I liked it. It was slow, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I thought it was mixed really well. The drums sounded good.
That's true.
The kick was less powerful, I feel, but I would rather trade it. Like, ideally, I'd love to have the best sounding kick and the best sounding snare and the best sounding everything. Contrary to what we were just saying for 25 minutes, but I'm happier with the song that sounds like that with a definable snare drum than a massive kick. So, so I liked the way it was mixed. The guitar sounded big. It was plodding feeling, which is something that Rob Zombie has a lot of songs like that, but they're not generally the songs that stand out like plodding feeling, you know. And so to me, the songs from his catalog that stand out as being his best songs are all the sort of like faster, more upbeat, up-tempo ones. But that one was pretty good. I liked that one. Again, that one reminded me of Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2. Like sick bubblegum type thing, that kind of stuff. Which, again, is my least favorite of his albums. So... Did that live up to the hype of the Devilman for me? No. But... No. It was better than a lot of the stuff we've heard on this album so far, so I'm happy in that regard, I guess.
Okay. So, yeah, about that song. I don't know. I felt like it was... I agree with you that it sounded the best, but it was also a little boring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think since you're not like super familiar with all of Rob Zombie's albums, I think... big chunks of the ones that you're not as familiar with sound more like that song than the stuff that you probably are more familiar with. Okay. So that does it. It didn't surprise me that was there, but yeah. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to Out of Sight. You ready?
Cool. Yep.
Out of Sight in 3, 2, 1.
Human blood.
And thus begins all of the shorter songs on the album.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa. Ow. That is super detuned. Or a bass guitar instead of guitar.
Yeah. This has a 90s vibe to it.
Yeah, that is a bass guitar.
Yeah, that is.
With guitars as well, though.
It's like that Pomeroy.
Yeah. That tambourine's in my right ear again.
He heard you like tambourine.
I do like tambourine.
Tambourine is that, like, a song will just transform as soon as the tambourine gets involved.
Yep. This is great, though. I love this.
Yeah, this is good.
Hey, back to that interesting sounding guitar that sounded like
that. That sounded. I think that might have been like an actual stringed Middle Eastern like an oud or something.
Yeah, which they did use sitar, I believe, on the album of Rob Zombie's that I want to listen to the most with you, which is the Educated Horses one. That album was the first album with John 5, and he had gotten a sitar, I think it was a sitar, right before they started recording, and so Rob Zombie was like, well, let's use some of that. And so they actually have really nice, crystal clear sounding sitar on some of the songs, and it's very interesting and very different. So that is something that's been established in his music before. That song sounded even better than the one before this.
It did. That sounded the best so far.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't know. I do think that Sir Lord Acid Wolfman had its but that was that was more of a stylistic song rather than that one. The Out of Sight was a bit more standard.
Yeah. That bass guitar was awesome. Do that all the time.
Yes, that was really cool. And then the guitars that were happening at the same time, they had a I recognized that sound. It was a like a wah pedal, but you just set the wah at a particular setting and then you don't wah it. You just like play the guitar with it, and it gives it that specific type of sound. At least I think that's how that was done. But that was a big bass guitar that was like spread wide. And I've wondered that before, like because low frequencies are so dang important in music now, and a lot of metal bands use 7 or 8 string guitars, where they have a literally just a bass guitar string attached to their guitar so they can play the most disgusting things imaginable. Why aren't there any bands that perform with just 2 bass players? And what you're hearing is the bass is spread left and right, and then guitar in the middle.
It's cool. It's a huge sound.
It would be an interesting way to. I'm sure there's been stuff done like that before, but it was interesting. I liked that though. And distorted bass is something Rob Zombie's also used a lot in his music, along with distorted piano and stuff like that. But we haven't gotten a lot of piano on this so far, and maybe not at all. But I don't know.
True.
Okay, so I propose we listen to this is Revolution. This is probably an actual song. Let's listen to this one, then we'll pause, and then we'll probably just listen to the last 4 tracks all together, I'm thinking.
Okay.
But let's first listen to Revolution, Mother Effers. Okay?
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
Fake Live?
Yeah. Sticking with that distorted bass. I like the massive claps. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, they want to play this song live and have everyone clapping to it.
The Fake Live aspect of it,
it's gone.
No, I know, but I feel like that's what the big claps are still supposed to evoke, like the huge crowd clapping.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
and it just seems like it could use more reverb in that regard. You tell him, Rob.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, a lot more realistic. This sounds like a real drum kit here. Clearly, this album was recorded at like multiple times at different places.
It's so weird to inject live clips of crowds and then pull them out for the rest of the song.
Yeah, I don't know.
They did it in the chorus.
Yeah, I like this though. Like, I think. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard like a big crowd clap sound in a song before. That's actually really cool.
Yeah,
I think. That was very Power Man 5000. Which they're on tour right now. Ooh. They're playing 2 casino shows in Iowa, but they're both really far from me. Which I was bummed, because I was like, well, shoot, I'll go see that. I'll get a hotel and stay there and see them 2 nights in a row. That'd be awesome. but it's too far.
Wow.
Okay, we'll pause it. We'll pause it.
End.
Yeah, that was not... It wasn't that bad, but from a production standpoint, starting it out with that crowd right away tells you what they're aiming for, and then I did that big, massive clap. Like, I don't even know how you get a sample of that. You know?
I mean, you could just take some claps. I think you could record some claps, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 at different distances from a mic, and then just Control C, Control C, Control V 40 times.
Yeah. Yes. For sure. But that sounded like more people together to me. Like, I've done that before. I've done stuff like that. Because all you have to do is, if you get a track of 5 people clapping for 20 seconds, you can literally take every single clap that everyone does, cut it up, and then put it on 20 tracks. You know what I mean? And then if you had them, and then if you did it twice, then take those and multiply. I mean, you can, get hundreds of people with just 5, but it sounded like from different places. I don't know. I thought that aspect of the song was cool. The rest of it, I was kind of just like, eh.
Yeah. I mean, the chorus was huge, but
yeah, it was another mid-tempo one where they're just going, Whereas the Rob Zombie songs we all think of are more like dun 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 dun, rather than But
that plotting.
As I said though, he's done a lot more songs like that over the last 4 albums than he did his first 2. So, all right, moving on to Welcome to the Electric Age, and I think, like I said, we're just going to listen from here to the end of the album. Because I think we're going to get intermission song, hopefully real song, intermission song to end the album. And I'm hoping Unclean Animals is final song vibes. Okay?
Yeah.
I want it to be vastly different than everything we've heard so far. And honestly, Black Scorpion could be the most crazy balls to the wall thing on the whole album. It could be just a constant barrage of double bass, crazy metal guitars, and just soloing, and Rob Zombie just going, hi, like the whole time. And if that's the case, that's awesome. I hope that's what it is.
The Black Scorpion will be a slower, plotting kind of song, maybe even one that is mostly just samples about, like, because it seems like if he's singing about some kind of mythical being, then it's going to be like this story-driven kind of thing where the music, being out of control is not really how you want to deliver the tale of the Black Scorpion,
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
we'll
I think that's true. It's only 1 minute and 33 seconds long. So,
right, yeah.
So we'll see if they can fit any of that. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to listen to Welcome to the Electric Age, The Black Scorpion, Unclean Animals, then end the album with Grave Discontent, which is an awesome song title. We'll listen to it all starting right now. This is Welcome to the Electric Age in 3, 2, 1.
The Electric Age is changing you. It is changing your family.
This is literally what we were talking about.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
It's changing your education.
Also, while this song is wasting our time being nothing, when you were gone, I opened my phone and went to Facebook, and I saw an article about Billy Corgan talking about how rock music was intentionally pushed out of the mainstream when rap started to get popular. And I was like, my phone is listening to what we're saying. Like, it definitely knows.
Billy Corgan
a period of fantastic change.
has lost his damn mind. And he has had it lost for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't know that much about him. I never was a Smashing Pumpkins fan, but
he's become quite the grump.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, into whatever this is.
Oh, looks like you're gonna win.
The organ, baby. This is what we needed.
Yeah, you said earlier, I hope there's some organ in this album. Bam, bam, bam.
This is gonna piss me off so bad that it's 1 minute long.
Yep. I love this organ.
Yeah.
It's like carnival organ, like baseball organ.
Yeah, very cool.
This is his punk song.
Yeah. Solo? He did it. He fit a whole song with 3 choruses, the only damn one on the album, in a minute and 33 seconds.
That was his punk song.
Wow. This is Rush.
Oh, interesting.
This is amazing sounding. Now it's Pink Floyd.
I was going to say he's got back to that 60s vibe he loves so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that really dry lead guitar tone, like a fly buzzing.
Yeah, on the right.
Yeah, it's on the left
I guess
too.
it's on both sides.
Yeah,
so,
it's very Dan Auerbach guitar tone. This is boring.
Super boring. I was just thinking, boy.
Yeah, this is unfortunate.
What a song that could shave, you could use to lose a minute and give it back to Black Scorpion.
I know, right? Yes. Oh. Hey, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, that was that song.
Yep.
All right, into the Grave Discontent.
This is it. 1 minute.
This is, I really like this all, actually. Are we gonna get some crazy like?
The black discontent of the one they set off.
Some kind of a.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna do nothing. I think it's just this.
I think you're right.
Which is cool. This is to me a Rob Zombie interlude track on his album.
Yeah.
Not the final damn track, but you know, Black Scorpion should have been the final track.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, there's no deluxe edition of this because he has done that a lot in the past. Had a deluxe. Yeah. Boo to that.
Boo hiss. What an ending. Yeah. Beep. Over. Like, okay.
Okay, so what are our thoughts on this album as a whole?
Oh, man. It falls into that same category as all the other bands that have been making music for a long time that we've been listening to lately, where it's like, I mean, it's definitely Rob Zombie, but what's he doing? Like, what is it?
I think part of it is when you've been a musician for so long, you just refuse to make anything that sounds good.
I mean, that sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but man, oh man, you hit a point and it just becomes, I don't know. You're not doing it because you want to anymore. It's just now it's your job.
No, I think you are doing it because you want to, but what you're not doing is anything that sounds catchy or anything you've ever done before. And so it's just like, but that's not true here because it does sound like Rob Zombie, but for some reason, and the thing is like, it would be very easy to criticize Rob Zombie. Like we were joking around at the beginning of just having like Hey Hays and Oh Babies and stuff in his music. But like to me, that's like an enjoyable part of his music. But I could see him feeling like people don't take me seriously because that's what I do. Now, the thing is, I'm not saying he tried to do anything crazy or different here. It's just that I feel like the music part of Rob Zombie's albums is more interesting on every other album than this one. There was fun stuff on this, but it wasn't ever featured enough to be like, oh wow, listen to that cool, like the organ on Black Scorpion was awesome. Why was that the only song that I can think of anything that was interesting sounding across the whole album? You know, and I think I do like some of the heavy riffs. I think this is Rob Zombie's heaviest album, I would say. Probably.
I can agree with that.
And I think that the way those first few songs were mixed were kind of unfortunate, especially with the drums. The snare just sounded non-existent. So that's kind of a bummer. And I do think that I would like those songs more, you know, but I just, this is really lacking something for me that is present on all of his other albums, including Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2, which is not again, like I said, is my least favorite album of his. There's usually such a character to Rob Zombie's music, and a lot of it has to do with like the samples and the like lo-fi horror feeling of it. Yeah. And that there were elements of that stuff here, but it didn't give it a vibe, you know? It just felt like it was there because it kind of had to be, which is not, you know, and sometimes, I will say this too, sometimes we blame not even blame. Sometimes we don't like things as much as I think we would because of the way we're listening to it, doing the reaction. I don't think that's the case here because we have done a couple Rob Zombie albums and it didn't bother us to stop in between every track and like analyze it the way we normally do. You know, so I don't think that's the issue here.
To your point, I think like the horror theme, the ribbon of his style with the vibe that he sets with the samples and everything, like it makes its way through. It ties all the songs together. Yeah. In one way or another, depending on whatever he's doing to make them sound like that. Yeah. But so much of this album just sounds like heavy music that could have been made by anybody. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't quite stick to the vibe the way that his other stuff does.
Yeah, I would agree. And also like one of the things that I love about his music is when it just sounds appealing to listen to. And he is contrary to that sometimes. Like some of the songs of his that I really enjoy a lot, they are sort of the antithesis to like the pop song where they're like intentionally being super lo-fi and there's nothing to it that's super sonically that's like conventional. But at the end of the day, he's still writing like a cool little boppy did he? You know what I mean? Like there was only one song on this album where he did that kind of like beboppy thing he does on all of his albums now, where he has Ging Gang Gong De Do Gong De Laga Raga is one of my favorite songs of his off of Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2. And then he did the same kind of thing on Venomous that album. But on this album, there was one song where he kind of went like skiddity bop or whatever at the beginning of the chorus. And that was it. That was the only like fun part of that at all. So yeah, I don't know. Does it seem like he's getting tired? Well, I wonder how much of this was Riggs and Blasco coming back and what they wanted to do, and Rob maybe, because I do think that Riggs was a very important reason that Rob Zombie's music sounded the way it did on his first 2 albums. And those were his most successful albums, the albums that like people still revere to this day. And so I just wonder if he gave Riggs, and I'm just guessing this totally. I have no fact to base this on. Yeah. But I wonder if he gave Riggs more creative control over it, which we've talked about before in our other videos, that Rob Zombie, when he goes in to make an album, he doesn't have like ideas for things. They kind of craft the album in the studio. And so it's kind of like however they're feeling at the time. But I'm sure knowing they were going to make an album, he had some ideas, and Riggs probably has had, 20 years of Rob Zombie ideas that he's had the whole time. Yeah. But it just kind of seems, I don't know. It's a bummer because I don't know. He is 61. Yeah. Then there's that too as well.
And I don't know. How much, I don't know how much, do you have left?
I mean, I think he does though. I think his last album was really good though. Like I didn't love it immediately right away. And I will say that too. And maybe this album will grow on me the more I listen to it. Maybe listening to it in a different setting, in a car or whatever, with the production will make it work better. And if that's totally possible. And it does seem like there was a little bit less wasted space on this album. There's 15 tracks, and there's Who Am I? And there's Welcome to the Electric Age, and there's The Grave Discontent. Yeah. Those are really the only 3 songs that are kind of just a waste of space. Everything else was a song. Yeah. So this is a pretty full album too from him, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. I just feel like there wasn't the standout tracks that you normally get on a Rob Zombie album. Because usually, like I said, he has 2 or 3 songs that are like the get up and go songs, like the heavy song. But then there's always usually at least another 2 or 3 that are like super interesting in a different way, And this album to me didn't like the standout tracks to me are I'm a Rock and Roller, Sir Lord Acid Wolfman, and The Black Scorpion. To me. Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. And I do think that Tarantula, when I go back and listen to it again, I'll probably enjoy more. Black Rat Coffin, I'll probably enjoy more. Punks and Demons, I might enjoy more. Devilman and Unclean Animals were the 2 sort of slower ones, and as well as Revolution Mother Effers. Those I'll probably enjoy more. Out of Sight was a good one. Yeah, Out of Sight I think you'll like more and more. Yeah, it seems like I'm super down on this, but the more I think about it, the more I probably won't be in the future when I listen to it more. And especially with his last album, it really grew on me a lot. It took me some listens to get into it, which doesn't happen with me all the time. A lot of the times my initial impression of an album is what I end up thinking about it forever. But that's interesting. Mine usually changes unless I don't listen to it anymore beyond the first one. Right. Yeah. So no, for me, that's not usually the case. But I will say some of my favorite albums of all time are the ones that took time to grow on me. Yeah, and it's really weird when that happens because there are some albums or some songs where it's like the very second this song started, I was like, oh, this is going to be a huge one. And you don't even have to, that's it. Yep. And then sometimes it's like Avenged Sevenfold, they had that one song on the radio back when it was, 2012 or something. And I was like, I hate this song. I cannot stand his voice. This is crap. And I kept hearing it because I was working with my dad at the time. And so we just listened to the radio all day. So it would just,
would play.
Sure.
More and more, and I was like, oh man, I think this might actually be super catchy. And I love that song now, and so much of their other stuff. But it is really weird how some stuff has to like pummel you into submission, and then you eventually like it.
Yeah, 1,000%. That happened with me when I was working at Hastings a lot. With Taylor Swift, my favorite Taylor Swift album, which is Speak Now, I love that entire album. I definitely would not have if we didn't have it in the play bin for 2 months in a row while we were there. You know,
and it's so.
A lot of the
and
times,
I think about go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of the times for me, those albums that do take time to grow on me, they are the exceptions to the rule, which we talk about all the time. Like the one country album that I really love, you know, Zac Brown Band. Same thing. I would never have given Zac Brown Band a chance, but because we listened to it in the play bin at Hastings, I grew to love it, and I love them now as an artist as a whole, and so a lot of the times those exceptions to the rule, those things I wouldn't have given a fair shake at first that you're then forced to listen to or you do for whatever reason, those are the ones that end up being super special.
And it's so interesting because just as easily, there will be songs that you hear that you hate as much. And then the more you hear them, you're like, I've never hated anything more than this song in my entire life.
Yes.
And
That's not my name by the Ting Tings.
Oh man, I have a list. And I don't know if I told you this story. You're really going to like this. If I haven't, I was standing in line with a friend of mine a couple of years ago to wait to like meet this celebrity guy. And we were just, killing time. And I was like, what? I was thinking about, I was like, what is my most hated song of all time?
Okay.
And I had two in my mind. And so I was like, what is your most hated song of all time? And I think I just gave him a second to think about it. And I said, is it Center Field by John Fogerty? And he stepped and he goes, I fucking hate that song. And I watched the rage just overcome him as he realized what it was. And that like he hadn't heard it in 20 years or something.
Sure.
But I was like, because I took a stab in the dark. I was like, it's either going to be this one or this one, or could have been nothing.
Sure.
But it's just
That's really
it's so funny that just the songs that you hear where you're like, I hate this, and then you hear it more and you're like, boy, do I hate this even more than I used to, and I don't understand why some I hate now I love, I hate, and I still hate and hate it even more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is really interesting how that can work. So yeah, I don't know what my overall opinion of this is. It's conflicting for me because it is Rob Zombie, which is a very special artist to me that has a unique sound, and I do feel like there was enough of that sound here to give me a Rob Zombie album. But I think I can pretty confidently say at this moment that this is now my least favorite Rob Zombie album. It is behind Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 2, which I don't despise at all. And I wouldn't say I despise this either, but but I think this is now my new least favorite Rob Zombie album.
So probably not top 12 then?
Oh, no way.
No, I know.
Of all the things that came out this weekend, which was Gorillaz, this is just the stuff that came out this weekend. Let me actually.
Oh, that's right. This was your new birthday weekend. That's right.
This was my birthday weekend. So this is the stuff that came out this weekend. Brand new Archive. Could be my number one album of the year. I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't heard any of it. But Archive, when they release an album, it is going to probably be on the list. And this album is 72 minutes long.
Dang.
It is as much as you can fit on a CD, and I'm very excited about that. The shortest song, I think, is 6 minutes. And their last album, Call to Arms and Angels, was so freaking good. I've talked to you about this before, I think, Chris. I've never heard people sing so quietly and so perfectly before than as on that album. So we have new Archive, which I can't wait. And I'm not going to do a reaction to because I did a reaction to their last album and it got blocked worldwide. So I'm not going to do one to this. But then also new Gorillaz, which I heard and is very interesting, but could end up being on my list, but it's very interesting for a lot of reasons. I recommend people check out our video on that. Rob Zombie, new Carpenter Brute album came out today, or this weekend.
Listened to it.
I haven't heard it yet, but I'm excited to listen to it. It will be my first Carpenter Brute album. I'm going to sit down and listen to the entire thing.
Okay.
I've never done that with any of his albums before. So that. Then there's a band that I've been keeping my eye on for the last 2 album cycles, and they're a band called Starbenders. And they released an album that is very classic rock sounding, mixed with like vampire lore and synths, and they kind of sound like Heart and the Sounds mixed together. Is how I would describe them. Like Heart and the Sounds mixed together. They have a new album that just came out called The Beast Goes On. Very excited to listen to that. I listened to a couple samples. The production sounds really good. Nice. And then something else that I'm super excited about that no one else is going to care about, but there's a band called Locus Noir whose debut album came out. Their album is called Shadow Sun, and they are a sort of gothic rock / electronic metal band that is the former singer of the band Cybreed, Benjamin, and he is singing like goth style vocals on this. And the production was done by Drop, the guy who did all the production for Cybreed, which is some of my favorite metal production. Yeah, yes. And so this is sort of like a goth version of Cybreed, but completely different music, but made by the same guys. And I really think that that's going to be a banger of an album too. So cool. we could potentially have 2 albums that came out this week that are going to be on my top 12. And that's not including the Gorillaz or the Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
And maybe the Carpenter Brute will really impress me, but when I think of Carpenter Brute, I think of vastly instrumental music, which could be wrong. It is
still that.
Yeah.
It is still that.
Right. And so I don't think there will ever be an instrumental album that makes it on my top 12. There have been a couple things that maybe came close, I guess, but not really. So I don't think that will be there.
Yeah.
But man, there's some good stuff that came out this weekend that I'm so excited to listen to. So.
Nice.
Anyway, sorry everybody. Rob Zombie won't be there. I might just probably cut all that out. But so yeah, those are our thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts on this, Chris?
No, not really. I'm always going to be looking out for him to make the next Hellbilly Deluxe that has like 4 or 5 bangers on it that I love. I don't think it'll ever happen. That's fine. I appreciate Rob Zombie for everything he's done in all medias that he's been a part of.
Yeah. And I really hope people check this video out because I would love to listen to those other 2 albums with you. I think that you are going to just crap over how fantastic that White Zombie album is.
I am prepared for that.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is not the one with Thunderkiss 65 on it. It's the one with More Human Than Human on it.
Great song.
Yes,
Killer song.
yes, and the whole album is just as good as that, if not better. Nice. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But then also his album that came out after Riggs left the band, John 5 joined it, and it's the Educated Horses. It's the one where he leaned more into the stoner rock vibe side of things. And I just think that is one of the best sounding albums I've ever heard. And I think that it's so freaking cool. And it's so different than everything we were talking about, what we were looking for. But to me, it is just as Rob Zombie.
Cool. So, that's interesting.
Yeah, I want to listen to that with you so bad. So I hope people watch this so we can do that, have a reason to do that. So, So let's not make this video any longer than it needs to be. Check out our Discord, check us out on Coffee, look at all the links for everything in the description of the video, check out the other videos here on the channel, and we will see you all next time.